She just posted a picture of her brand new BMW, a shiny white convertible, custom plates, the caption "Trust Fund Baby Mode activated." Meanwhile, I just skipped dinner to cover the heating bill for a house I don't even live in, a house I've been paying the mortgage on for the past 3 years while juggling 2 jobs and finishing my engineering degree. Why? Because my dad said, "We need to keep the family lake house for your sister, for your mom's memory." So I worked. Nights at a body shop, weekends landscaping in freezing Michigan snow, every spare dollar gone, while my little sister was flying to Miami for weekend spa retreats. But I kept going because I thought I was doing the right thing, honoring my mother, holding the family together, until one day, my dad called. His voice lighter than usual, too cheerful. "Ethan," he said, "I just set up a $500 000 trust fund for Samantha. It's what your mom would have wanted." I froze. No mention of me. No thanks. Just a proud smile over the phone for the daughter who never worked a single day in her life. That was the moment I stopped the transfer. For the first time in 3 years, I didn't pay the mortgage. I let the house burn. My name is Ethan Carter. I'm 23, a senior at the University of Michigan, mechanical engineering major. Most days I wake up at 6, clock in at the body shop by 7, classes from 11 to 5, then landscaping work till dark, then study, then sleep, then repeat. There's nothing glamorous about it, just grease under my nails, cheap coffee, and a to-do list that never ends. I rent a tiny basement apartment in Ann Arbor. The ceiling leaks when it rains. The radiator rattles at night like it's trying to speak, but I make it work because someone has to. That someone has always been me. Since mom died 4 years ago, I've been the one holding the family together. My dad, he kind of shut down, said he needed time. My little sister Samantha, well, she didn't exactly step up, so I did. I started covering the mortgage on our lake house in Torch Lake. It was supposed to be just for a few months. That was 3 years ago. I've paid for the taxes, the roof repair, the broken furnace last winter, and not once did I complain, because I thought that's what being a good son meant. That's what mom would have wanted. That's what families do, right? Even when it hurts, even when no one says thank you, even when no one even notices. Samantha Carter, 21. My younger sister, blonde, charming, and effortlessly adored. She lives in Miami now, in a high-rise condo with the ocean views. Dad pays the rent, of course. She dropped out of college after one semester, said it was too stressful, so she took a mental health gap year. That was 2 years ago. Since then, her life has been one long vacation. Pool parties, brunches, designer handbags, Instagram reels and Paris filters, hashtags like #softlife and #blessed. She's never worked a day in her life, doesn't even know how to check her own tire pressure. Once called me because she couldn't figure out how to reset the Wi-Fi. But somehow, she's always been the center of Dad's world. When she cries, the world stops. When I struggle, I get told to man up. Samantha gets trust funds. I get guilt trips. She gets spa days. I get utility bills. But maybe that's just how it's always been. Samantha is soft, pretty radiant. She reminds Dad of Mom. He says it all the time. She has your mother's smile. Maybe that's why he never asked her to sacrifice anything. Maybe that's why I'm the one paying for a house she parties in while she toasts champagne. To a future that was funded by the past I'm still cleaning up. Richard Carter, my dad, 58. Once a proud builder, now just tired. He ran his own construction company for almost 20 years, built homes, schools, even churches around Michigan. People respected him, looked up to him. And then Mom got sick. Stage 4. She lasted 11 months. After she passed, Dad didn't speak much for a while. He buried himself in work, nights, weekends, holidays. He just kept building like maybe he could pour cement over his grief and pretend it never happened. But grief doesn't work that way. It leaks through the cracks, and his it leaked right into Samantha. She became his escape, his project, his way to keep a part of Mom alive. He spoiled her, gave her everything she wanted, laughed off her mistakes, called her his light. Meanwhile, he called me when bills were due, when the roof caved in, When the house needed saving, I became the fixer, the responsible one, the reliable son, not the favorite, never the favorite. I think deep down, Dad thought I could handle it, that I didn't need love, just duty, that I wouldn't break, because I never let him see the cracks. And maybe that's on me. Maybe I should have said something sooner, but when you're the glue, no one notices until you're gone. Torch Lake, Michigan. That's where the house is. 2-story cabin, big deck, private dock, pine trees that whisper at night. It used to be magic. We spent summers there when I was a kid, fishing with Dad at 5 a.m., Mom making pancakes in the tiny kitchen, Samantha and I chasing fireflies till midnight. That house was laughter, warmth, family. Then Mom died, and it became something else. Cold in winter, quiet in summer, lonely, even when full. Dad couldn't keep up with the payments. Business was slowing. So he called me, asked if I could help just until things stabilize. I said yes. Of course I did. What else could I say? I was 19, working part-time, studying full-time. But I transferred $2,800 that month, then the next month, and the one after that. I've been paying that mortgage ever since. 3 years, no vacation, no trips, no new clothes. That house, I haven't slept there in almost 2 years. Samantha has. With friends. Loud music. Empty bottles. Once, I went up to fix a broken pipe. Found a beer pong table in Mom's old sewing room. I stood there, staring at a red Solo cup floating in the sink where she used to wash strawberries. That house doesn't feel like home anymore. It feels like a debt. Like proof I'm being used, because no one else will step up. It always starts the same way. A call from Dad, usually around the 25th, his voice casual, too casual. Hey Ethan, the mortgage is due. Can you cover it this month? Like he's asking if I can grab milk from the store. Like it's no big deal, like it's just expected. And I say yes, every time. Even when my account's bleeding, even when rent's late. Even when textbooks cost more than I have, I always say yes. Then I log into my banking app, swipe through the negative numbers, find a way. I cut back on groceries, postpone oil changes, sell old tools I still need. And I make the transfer. $2, $802, $853, 000 as interest creeps up. Then I close the app, sit in silence. Wonder what I just gave up to keep a house I haven't stepped into in months. Samantha never calls. She doesn't even say thank you. She just posts pictures. Champagne on the dock, designer sunglasses. Lake life is self-care. Funny. I thought self-care was eating 3 meals a day. Not skipping lunch to send money so your sister can pop bottles in a house you can't afford to visit. It's not just the money. It's the assumption that I will always give, always solve, always carry. Like, I'm not a person, just a payment plan with a heart. Saturday night, I'm in my apartment, knees pulled up to my chest, eating ramen. Straight from the pot. Again. 4th time this week. No meat, no egg. Just boiled salt and noodles. The radiator groans behind me like it's tired too. My phone buzzes. Notification from Instagram. I almost don't look, but I do. It's Samantha. On a yacht. Somewhere off Key West. Wearing a white bikini. Holding a mimosa. Caption, Sunsea, and self-love. The next story, a slow pan over a 5-star suite, lobster tails, room service, a bottle of champagne with our family name spelled in chocolate on a plate. The third story, a boomerang her tossing her Louis Vuitton bag onto the bed like it's a feather. I blink, then look back at my pot of ramen. Clumped, soggy, cold now. I laugh, not the funny kind. The kind that feels like it'll break something inside if I don't let it out. Dad's words echo in my mind. She's figuring herself out. She deserves a head start. What about me? Don't I deserve a meal without guilt? A night without math, figuring out how to stretch $60 across 5 days and 4 bills. Samantha calls it self-care. I call it sponsored delusion. And I'm the sponsor. Mom died in late October. The trees were gold and orange, but everything felt gray. I was 19. Samantha was 17. Dad didn't cry, not once. At the funeral, he just stared ahead, stone-faced, like if he moved, he'd shatter. But me, I held her hand until the last breath. I slept on the hospital floor. I read her favorite poems aloud even when she couldn't respond. The night before she passed, she whispered, "Take care of them, Ethan. Keep the house." I nodded. Of course I did. Because back then I thought taking care meant love, meant strength, meant doing what was right. So when Dad said the lake house was slipping, I stepped up. When Samantha left school, I didn't ask questions. I just paid. I just worked. I just held everything together. Because I thought that's what Mom wanted, that keeping the house meant keeping her with us somehow. But now, I wonder, would she still ask that if she saw what it's become? The place she planted tulips now has beer cans in the garden. Her antique coffee table covered in cigarette burns. The dock where she watched sunsets is now a party pier for people who don't even know her name. I kept the house, but I lost the meaning. And maybe that's the saddest part. Tuesday evening, midterms week. I was at my desk highlighting a chapter on thermodynamics. The heater hissed. My ramen had gone cold again. Then Dad called. I almost didn't pick up, but something told me to answer. His voice was different, lighter, like he hadn't carried anything in months. "Ethan," he said, "I've got big news." I waited. He continued. "I just set up a trust fund for Samantha. $500,000. I stopped breathing. Literally. "It's what your mom would have wanted," he added, "to give her a real start in life." I couldn't speak. I just stared at the wall. $500,000. That's more than I've made in my entire life. More than I'll make in the next 5 years if I keep splitting shifts and skipping sleep. I swallowed, then asked quietly, "Will she be helping with the house now?" He laughed. Actually laughed. "Oh no," he said. "That money's for her future. She deserves to use it as she sees fit." Deserves. That word echoed. She deserves. And would I endure? I held that silence for as long as I could. Then I said, "Thanks for letting me know." And I hung up. Then I sat there, in the dark, for a long, long time. Not angry, not even surprised. Just done. The next morning, I opened Instagram. Don't ask me why. Habit, maybe. Masochism, probably. There it was. First post on my feed. Samantha smiling, standing next to a brand new BMW convertible. Pearl white, top down, keys in hand, matching sunglasses and heels. Caption: Trust fund baby mode activated. Thanks, Daddy. Winking emoji. Champagne bottle. # start strong. I stared at the screen. Not blinking, not breathing. $40,000. Gone in a day. On a car she'll probably crash before she learns how to check the oil. Meanwhile, I'm still driving a 2007 Honda Civic. The passenger door doesn't open from the inside. The check engine light's been on for 8 months, and I can't afford to fix it. Because I've been fixing the house. Their house. And now she has a luxury car. And I have a warning light that feels personal. I turned off the phone. Sat in silence. Again. And then, I opened my banking app. Scrolled to scheduled transfers. Selected Mortgage Torch Lake. Clicked cancel. Then confirmed it. No hesitation, no drama, no tears. Just freedom. For the first time in 3 years, I chose myself. 2 weeks later, the first message came in. 8:04 a.m. Mortgage due today. Transfer didn't go through. Can you handle it? I stared at it. Read it twice. Then typed. I thought Samantha was covering house expenses now. With her trust fund. Send. 3 dots appeared. Then disappeared. Then my phone rang. Dad. I let it go to voicemail. Then Samantha called. Declined. Then Dad again. Then silence. Later that night, a voicemail. Ethan, what is this? You've always taken care of the mortgage. Brianna's money is for her future, not bills. You know that. I didn't answer. He texted again. This house is all we have left of your mother. There it was. The guilt. Right on cue. But I'd rehearsed this moment over and over in my head. In the shower. While scraping frost off my windshield. While microwaving ramen again. I was ready. I texted back. Brianna just spent $40,000 on a car. That could have covered the mortgage for over a year. I'm behind on rent. My car is dying. I've done my part. It's your turn now. No reply. Just silence. And for once, I welcomed it. No more can you help no more. Just this one time. No more default setting of self-sacrifice. The lifeline was cut, and I didn't feel guilt. I felt weightless. It didn't take long. By the end of the week, I started getting messages. Not from Dad, not from Samantha, from people I barely knew. Family friends. My cousin Jenna. Some girl I hadn't spoken to since middle school. Is it true you're letting the house go? How could you do that to your sister? Your mom would be ashamed. One even said, I always thought you were the responsible one. I guess not. That one hit. Not because it was true, but because it was the label I'd worn like a uniform, and now it was being used against me. Dad must have told them, told the story his way, left out the 36 mortgage payments, the emergency repairs, the skipped meals, the sleepless nights. In his version, I was the selfish son who abandoned his grieving father and his struggling little sister over a few dollars. Samantha posted something too, a selfie, eyes puffy, crying into the camera. Caption, "It hurts when the people who are supposed to love you just walk away." Thousands of likes, hundreds of hearts, a dozen stay strong queen comments. No one asked why I walked. No one asked what I'd already carried. To them, I was the villain, the ungrateful son, the brother who bailed. And for the first time in my life, I didn't care. Let them talk. I was done bleeding for people who only noticed when the faucet turned off. I called Uncle Dave. He used to co-own a few properties with Dad before the business went south. He was always fair, quiet, the kind of man who didn't take sides unless truth made it necessary. We met at a diner just outside Ann Arbor. He ordered black coffee. I didn't order anything. I told him everything. No drama, just numbers, facts. He listened, didn't interrupt once. Then he pulled out a file, manila folder, old, edges worn. "Your dad listed you as a financial guarantor on the Torch Lake mortgage," he said, "without telling you." I blinked. "You didn't co-sign officially, but he referenced you as a fallback payer. Legally shady. Morally worse." I sat there, silent, still. "That means," he continued, "if he defaults, your credit might take a hit, even if it's not your debt." He paused, sipped his coffee, then added, "Also, your mom's name is still on the deed." That got my attention. When she died, her share legally became part of her estate. Half that house isn't your dad's to give away or mortgage without consent from her heirs. I froze. I wasn't just paying for that house. I might actually own part of it. The silence between us stretched. Then he said, "You should talk to a lawyer, kid." Yesterday. And just like that, everything shifted. I wasn't powerless. I wasn't crazy. I was about to fight back with paper. I went home and pulled out every document I had. Emails, bank transfers, tax receipts, screenshots of old texts. Then I made an appointment at the university's legal aid clinic. I met with Patricia Williams Sharp, suit sharper eyes. I told her everything, laid it out clean, no drama, just facts. She took notes, nodded occasionally, asked smart questions. Then she leaned back and said, "Your father didn't just use you. He erased you." I didn't speak. I didn't need to. "The house is part of your mother's estate," she continued. "Unless a will stated otherwise, half of it legally belongs to you and your sister. But he's been collecting mortgage payments from you, on a property you partly own." That landed like a punch. Not because I wanted the house, but because it was mine and no one even told me. Not once. Not when Mom died. Not when I started sending money. Not when the furnace broke and I paid out of pocket in February. Just quiet assumption that I'd pay, that I'd comply, that I'd never ask questions. Until now. Patricia looked at me and said, "You have every right to challenge this. Legally, financially, ethically." And for the first time in years, I felt something unfamiliar. Not guilt, not duty, not fatigue. Power. We scheduled a second meeting. Same office, different energy. This time, I brought everything. Transaction history, receipts, screenshots, proof that I've been making mortgage payments since I was 19. Patricia took her time. She spread the documents out like puzzle pieces. She read every line. Then she looked at me. "You have a case," she said. "More than one." I stayed silent. Let her continue. "Number one, your father listed you as a guarantor without proper disclosure. That's financial misrepresentation. Number two, the house is partially yours, yet he leveraged it without your consent. Number 3, you've contributed financially with no agreement or compensation. That's unjust enrichment. You could file for reimbursement. The words didn't hit all at once. They came in waves, but they carried something new: validation. For years, I thought I was just being petty, too emotional, too sensitive. Turns out I was just being used. And now I was done apologizing for waking up. Patricia tapped her pen. We'll start with a letter of inquiry. Request all mortgage documents, loan agreements, the trust fund structure, everything. She looked at me. Once they know you have legal counsel, you'll be surprised how quickly the narrative changes. I nodded, not with anger, but with clarity. They called me selfish for stepping back. Now they'll call me dangerous for stepping forward. I didn't confront them. No dramatic calls, no angry texts. No, how could you just silence? I blocked Dad's number, then Samantha's, then muted the family group chat that had become nothing but forwarded memes and financial guilt. I turned off notifications, kept my head down, filed paperwork, ate better, slept longer. It was quiet, uncomfortably at first, then peaceful. But they noticed. 3 days in Tyler, my roommate got a call from Dad. He passed me the phone, eyes wide. Your dad's using me as a messenger now. I shook my head, didn't take the call. A week later, an email from Samantha. Subject line, this is hurting me too. I didn't open it because I already knew what was inside crocodile tears. Half apologies, full expectations. Then came the voicemails from Dad. Ethan, be reasonable. This is family. I made mistakes, but you're punishing everyone. No, I wasn't. I was just done participating in a game where I was the only one playing fair. And my silence. It screamed louder than any confrontation ever could. I didn't burn bridges. I just stopped rebuilding ones they kept blowing up. No more explaining. No more defending. Let them sit in the quiet. Let them hear what it sounds like when the one who carried everything puts it down. Looking back, I didn't burn the house. I just stopped pouring water on a fire I didn't start. For years, I believed love meant sacrifice. That if you gave more, they'd eventually see your worth. But here's the truth. Some people only love the version of you that keeps giving and never asks for anything back. My father thought protecting my sister meant destroying everything else. My sister thought love was measured in the things money could buy. And I thought loyalty meant silence, endurance, suffering. But silence can be dangerous when it hides the truth. And endurance without reciprocity, it's not noble. It's self-destruction. The moment I chose myself, not out of spite, but out of survival, was the moment I became free. Not from them, but from the guilt they wrapped around me like a leash. Freedom didn't feel like fire. It felt like air, like space, like peace. No more rescue missions. No more fixing what they broke. No more proving my value to people who only saw my utility. Some houses aren't meant to be saved. Some bridges need to collapse so you stop running back over them. This wasn't just about money, or inheritance, or even justice. It was about reclaiming something they've forgotten I had all along. My voice, my worth, my right to walk away. I didn't get revenge by shouting, or suing, or confronting them one last time. No, I got revenge by disappearing from the narrative they always controlled, by becoming someone who no longer needed their validation or their approval, by choosing a future that didn't include people who only showed up when it cost me everything. Today, I walk into meetings at one of the top engineering firms in Vermont. Paid well, respected, fulfilled. I sleep in a warm bed in an apartment that I pay for with my name, my choices, and my dignity. And sometimes I hear whispers from old friends, from Uncle Patrick, about how Dad's business is gone, how Brianna had to move back in with him after the BMW was repossessed and the credit cards ran dry. They're not villains, just people who never thought their actions would have consequences. And I'm not bitter. I'm not even angry anymore. I'm just done. Done playing the role of the dependable son, the backup plan, the invisible hero. So if you've ever been the one carrying your whole family on your back, if you've ever sacrificed your future for people who barely said thank you, let me say this. You deserve better. You deserve peace. You deserve to walk away. Because sometimes the most powerful revenge is becoming someone they can no longer reach. This was my story, but it's not the only one. This was one of many revenge stories.